there are some major problems as modern, archaeology and modern accepted theory of evolution and scientific study from the mainstream, that they have proposed to us this millions of years timeline, right? There are some major problems with that when it comes to some of the things that we find in geology itself in the strata layers that you kind of covered in the book too. So would you mind touching upon that, please?
Absolutely. And of course, layers of strata are the different layers that you see in a cross section when they're doing construction work.
Yeah.
You'll see different layers of different things, carbon, dirt, different things that happen through history. Even when a volcano erupts thousands of years ago, it'll lay down a layer of ash. So when you cut the ground, there's maybe a little section of ash in there. We're also talking about ice cores drilled in Antarctica, where you can see that kind of stuff happening throughout world history. And so the layers of strata, theoretically, as long as everything goes normally, you have a can of Mountain Dew right at the top and dinosaur bones really far down. That's the layer of strata, giving us a timeline of what happened as the dirt built up across the millennia. And so one of the things that we talk about in the book, and what you're referring to likely, is polystrate fossils. Polystrate fossils are trees that have been fossilized standing straight up, and they cut through what secular science calls millions of years of dirt buildup all around these trees that supposedly stood and never grew for a million years. So what you're seeing when you see a polystrate fossil is evidence of a massive global flood. When you get the whole world underneath the water churning, things being thrown around, dead animals, trees, you also get that dirt and that sediment building up around the trees very quickly. And so polystrate fossils is a good evidence against the theory of evolution.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's a lot of things in the book too that, and I know you give credit to him right at the get-go, that he was a big influence for you, was Dr. Kent Hovind, who I've had the privilege of talking to. And he uses this term, what I was writing down while you were talking, is it's basically, it's circular reasoning and circular referencing, right? It's like, well, how old do you know? How do you know how old the fossil is? Well, because of the layer it's in. Well, how do you know how do you know how old the layer is? Well, because of the fossil. And it's just this circular reference that doesn't make any sense. And that's how they justify everything.
Evolutionists will go through mental gymnastics to deny that God exists.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what we see through a lot of things, not just evolution, but the story of the giants that the Smithsonian has covered up over the last 150 years, is people doing mental gymnastics to try to just deny God's existence. Denying God's existence is the first step in being free from authority. That's and right. Everybody at their nature desires to not have any authority. And so, folks want to deny God's existence. And a lot of folks have believed a lie. I will reiterate, you read the back of the book at the beginning. In my opinion, evolution is a religion. And of course, we're just now talking about Kent Hovind, and he's one of the people who I've heard talk about this a lot. Evolution is a religion because it takes faith to believe in evolution. Science is observable evidence, and nobody has ever observed Darwinian evolution, which is the macroevolution. Yeah. Microevolution is adaptation, and that's part of God's creation. Little changes to adapt to your environment. Macroevolution is a horse changing into a cat. No one has ever seen one kind of animal change into another kind, and it's not replicable in a science lab experiment. So therefore, evolution is a religion. You have to have faith to believe in it. And guess what? I'll quote Kent Hovind on this. At least I admit that mine is a religion.